And my goal was to score above a 160. Section I really struggled with was logic games. I knew I could do better, and I actually don't think I needed the power score class. Hey everybody, happy Valentine's Day. I assume this video will attract some new people, so I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Angel. I am one half of the duo Angel and Sam LLP. I graduated from Columbia Law School in 2019, and now I am a full-time practicing attorney here in New York City, and I'm licensed to practice in New York and Texas. So let's get into it. So the number one question we get on every video, almost every DM is always about the LSAT. And I'm gonna explain really quickly why I usually don't respond to those questions or I give like a generic answer. Both times actually that I took the LSAT was in 2015. So that was 6 years ago at this point, and the LSAT has changed a lot since then. So a lot of times I don't think that my experience or some of the considerations that went into why I took the LSAT when I did or the way I studied, they aren't as applicable anymore because the test has changed a lot since then, but some things maybe still are. I tell people that and they still wanted advice, so I thought it'd be helpful to have this video to point people to. So I'll just get into my LSAT experience. I'll give a lot of context and you can take from it what you want. So like I said, I took the LSAT for the first time in 2015. I was a junior in college, and at the time, the LSAT was actually only administered a few times a year, and the advice I received was that if I wanted to go straight from college to law school, it was best to take the LSAT the summer after my junior year. That way if I don't like my score, I have some buffer time and I can retake it in like September or October and still be early on in the application cycle. So if you don't know, law school applications, unlike college applications, are reviewed by the admissions committee at the law school on a rolling basis. So there is some benefit to getting your application in early. So let me just paint the picture for you guys of what my life was looking like that semester. I've said this on the channel before, but in college, I came into college, I wanted to be a lawyer and stuff like that. And then somewhere along the way, that view kind of got sidetracked and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And I just had all these doubts in my mind. And when I was picking my classes for my final semester of my junior year, I was in a mindset that I wasn't gonna go to law school, and I didn't know that I'd be studying for the LSAT that semester. So I was, at Duke we used to call it overloading. So I was overloading that semester, which just means I was taking a lot of classes, had my extracurricular stuff, whatever. Did not think I was gonna take the LSAT. So fast forward to the February-ish, late January, February-ish of 2015. I've already started my second semester of my junior year, and something in me was just like, actually, I still want to go to law school. Like, I still want to take the LSAT. I don't know when that plan got derailed, but that's still what I really want to do. So once I decided that, I started searching for an LSAT prep class. At the time, I thought I had to take an LSAT prep class. And now, in hindsight, that wasn't the case. And people often ask me if I did the classes with someone or had a study buddy. I didn't. I did everything by myself, from like studying for the LSAT, the application process. Like, I didn't have that accountability partner. So yeah, I decided to take Power Score because it was recommended to me by someone who graduated from Duke and got into law school and things like that. I took Power Score and I did the online class because in person, I want to say it was like $1,500 and online was $1,000. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do online. I can study by myself or whatever. So that was kind of my mindset. And they had a payment plan option, which is attractive to me because $1,000 is a lot of money. So my mom, thank you mom. My mom paid for my LSAT class, and yeah, she kind of did like the payment plan or whatever. The class started spring break. So I started studying for the June test. I want to say the test was like June 6th, June 9th. I started studying for that test in March. So one of the common questions that I get, how long were you studying for the LSAT? That would be what, March, April, May, June. So like 3 months the first time I took it. Studied for about 3 months. Whew. Okay, so let me just get into how I studied the first time. I'm giving a lot of context because yeah, I just want to get y'all into my mindset. So like I said, I didn't think I was going to be taking the LSAT this semester. So my schedule wasn't really that forgiving. Like, I was very busy and I didn't have as much time to study for the LSAT as I wanted to. I was using Power Score. We had like these once a week classes for about 2 hours, and you're supposed to do homework after and have it done before the next class. I never ever finished the homework. I'd always try and do it before like the next class and stuff. So I would say I was studying 1 day a week, and I'd say I was studying for like 4 hours. So only like 4 hours a week, which really wasn't enough time, but that was the only time I could really find to do LSAT stuff. Maybe 4 or 5 hours that one day. I think it was like Thursdays. I still remember all of this. And the class was like Thursday night. So not enough time. And my goal was to score above a 160. Power score, when you start that prep course, the first thing you do is take a practice test. I guess they want to like measure your progress. So the first test I took, I didn't score above a 160, so I knew like I had some ways to go if I wanted to pass my goal or meet my goal. Reason why I'm addressing this is that one of the common questions we also get is, how did you study? How long did you study? So yeah, I studied not that much in the beginning, once a week for like 4 or 5 hours. So from the middle of March to the end of semester, which is usually like the last week of April, so what's that, about a month and a half, I was only really studying once a week for 4 or 5 hours a week. Once the semester ended, I would say I studied about 2 weeks of every day, several hours a day, catching up on all the old homeworks that I wasn't finishing for the past month and a half because I didn't have time or whatever the case may be. So I was studying every single day, maybe like 2 weeks. Then, so now it's like mid-May and I go on like a week-long vacation with my line sister and her family. I was studying a few hours a day on that vacation, I would say. There was one day that I actually stayed in and just studied. I didn't do like vacation stuff. And I think I fell asleep. So I probably studied like 5 hours that day. So I wasn't studying as much as I was for the 2 weeks between the semester and vacation, but I was still studying more than I was when I was like, the semester was going on. Now it's late May. The test is maybe in like 3 weeks. I had about a week off before my internship started. So during this week, once again, I'm like putting in a lot of time. I'm seeing my practice test scores increase dramatically. I'm like really excited about it. I was scoring well above a 160 on my practice test, so I was feeling really good. So now it's time for my internship to start. Internship started and it's a 9-to-5 job. So I would like go to my internship, do my like 9 to 5, and then I would come back to my hotel room. They had us up in hotels and I would try to study and I'd be exhausted. At that point, I would say the week and a half to 2 weeks leading up to the test, sorry if this timeline is off, but hopefully it makes sense. I was studying maybe 3 hours a day because I'd be tired after work and I was like still trying to get like a practice test in. So 3 to 4 hours a day. All of that happened and now it's test day. I like take a vacation day or take a day off. I don't know if they gave us vacation days, but I took a day off for my internship, took the test, didn't meet my goal. I scored below 160. And I remember being super disappointed and thinking like, how could this be possible? Like I'm scoring so high. I was scoring so high on my practice test. And looking back, I think that I think I was flustered. I had a lot going on. As I said, I'm like doing this and doing that and trying to squeeze in studying, and I have this internship or whatever. And in the internship, there were a lot of like social aspects. And I was like moving a lot. I went from studying in Durham to studying in Houston. I was at home for a little bit to studying in Jamaica for a little bit to studying back in Houston to studying in Arkansas. Like I was moving around a lot and all that type of stuff. So I was very disappointed when I got my test results. I want to say I got them probably the same month. I can't exactly remember, but I got them the same month. And at this moment, I was very, very grateful for the advice that I was given, that the first time you should take the LSAT, it should be like with a lot of cushion. So the advice I was given to take it, the first test after my junior year, I appreciated it because I wanted to take it again. I didn't meet my goal and I still had time. Like the next test was gonna be in October. I immediately signed up for the October test. Power Score is good in that they don't make you pay for another class. If you have 2 applications, you have 2 test cycles. Well, at the time, because it's different now. Now the test is given a lot more frequently, to my understanding, than it was when I was taking it. So I think a lot of these considerations I had about the timing and when I should take it, I don't know how relevant that is anymore, but whatever. So I was like, okay, I have time. I have until October to study again. And I felt good about that. I felt confident in that I could take it again. I knew I could do better and I could take it in October and still have a pretty good application. I think applications, I think they opened like August, September, some October, and I felt like I could just submit everything. By the end of October, I'd have everything in. So that made me feel pretty good. The rest of that summer, I just didn't think about the LSAT, took a break from studying. I was just enjoying the internship, enjoying like the friends that I was making. And I told myself I wasn't gonna worry about this until August because I just, there was too much going on. I didn't want to have to study. August comes, I would say late August, I start studying again. At this point, it's my senior year, and now I knew I'd be taking the LSAT, so I was more prepared to take the LSAT. So my second semester of junior year, I said I was overloading, which means I was taking more classes than Duke recommends. This time I was underloading, which means I was taking less classes because I needed to have that time to study, and I knew that I needed extra time. Like, I knew I didn't have enough time last time. I also wasn't as involved that semester in like all the other responsibilities I had going on, so I felt like I had more time to study. So the first time I took the test, the section I really struggled with was logic games. So my approach to taking the test again was that I'm gonna spend most of my time on logic games. I'm gonna master that section, and I'm more comfortable with logical reasoning, and I'm more comfortable with, what's the other section? Reading, I think reading comprehension. I'm more comfortable with those sections, so I'm gonna just only focus on logic games. If I can go back in time, I wouldn't have taken that approach. I would say the second time I studied, I spent, I would say 80% on logic games, 15% on logical reasoning or critical reasoning. I can't remember what it's called, but y'all know like the ones I'm talking about, the short sentences where you have to like explain. And I only spent like 5% on reading comprehension, if at all, because I was like, oh, I'm so confident in that area, I'm good in that area. That was not a good idea. I got to the test, and let me explain the test to you guys. So there are the sections that you're gonna be graded on, and when I took it, there were 2 sections of each topic, and then one of those 3 topics would have an extra section, and you don't know which one of the extra sections, this is like a tongue twister, you don't know which extra section is gonna be like the experimental one, but you know one of them is. So I get to the test, and reading comprehension is the one with 3 sections, and I'm like, okay, here we go, I have to do this 3 times. I didn't finish the sections, I always ran out of time. The first time I took the test, I never ran out of reading comprehension. So I actually felt like I was doing worse on the reading comprehension section than I did the first time. That wouldn't have happened if I had just dedicated time to studying for reading comprehension and like maintain that level of confidence that I had the first time. So if I could go back, I probably would have did like 50% logic games since I was struggling so much, 25% logical reasoning, and 25% reading comprehension, instead of neglecting that section, because I didn't feel like that was a good idea. So second time I took the test, reading comprehension, I was struggling with it. I wasn't finishing on time. I was like really struggling with my timing. But logic games, I felt a lot better, and logical reasoning, I think I felt about the same. All in all, it worked out. I scored above a 160 the second time, and I met my goal, and I applied with that score. But I would have, had an even stronger application, I don't know, if I would have just studied in a more balanced way. So that was my experience. Looking back, some things that I wish I would have done differently. So I've named some of them. Like the second time I was studying, I would have balanced my time a little bit better. I do actually wish that I had an accountability partner. At the time, I didn't think it was necessary. I was used to studying on my own for like school, but I do think it would have been helpful to have someone that I could say like, hey, let's take a practice test together. We could have went to the library, took a practice test, and just like shared our experiences with studying with each other. I think would have been helpful. The second time I took the test, I wasn't on summer break like I was the first time, so there were 2 other people, or one other person at my school, one other guy that he knew at a neighboring school, and I found out they were taking the LSAT, and I was like, oh, I didn't know anyone else, and he was black, so like I didn't know anyone else in like Black Duke was taking the LSAT. So we rode together to the test, like we all like, I feel like this was before Uber. Maybe like Uber was just like first starting. So I think maybe we took an Uber or maybe we took a taxi, I can't remember. But we like rode together to the test. I remember like how good that felt, like, oh, this is nice to know that other people are on this journey with me. So I always kind of think back on that and think maybe it would have been helpful to, even if I wasn't studying with him, to just be like, hey, let's take a practice test, or hey, like what's your progress like? I don't know, something like that. Fun fact, now he's at my firm, so everything kind of comes full circle. And I actually don't think I needed the Power Score class. So I know people are gonna be asking me like, do you recommend Power Score or not? I mean, my score did improve. Like I said, my first time I ever took a practice LSAT, I scored below 160 and I ended up scoring above 160 the second time I took it. But the online videos for Power Score, I remember them saying the exact same things that were stated in the book. So this is gonna be dependent on whether you're an auditory learner or you like to read and like visuals. Like I'm more of a visual and reading comprehension learner than I am an auditory learner. So I don't actually think I needed the videos. And if I would have just bought the Power Score books, that would have saved me like maybe an additional $50, I mean, not 50, I wish 50. That would have saved me an additional $500. So if I could go back in time, I probably would have just bought like the Power Score Bibles. I don't know if they're still called that, or the Power Score books that go with the class, and just read that from front to back, did all the practice tests, did all the practice questions. And I think I would have been in an even better spot or the same spot. So I definitely don't think it was worth the money. I remember literally like reading all the things in the book. I'm like, this is exactly what they said in the video. Watching the videos and reading, which is what I was doing, I think was a waste of time. The LSAT is one of those tests where practice really does improve your score. Like, practice makes better. So listening to their tricks and methods for answering the questions, you don't really need to hear that 3 or 4 times. Like, once or twice is enough. And then you really need to practice what they're saying. So if I could have cut out that time where I was like watching these videos and just read it, and I could read a lot quicker than I can listen to something. I'm a pretty fast reader. I could have saved time, and that could have been time used to practice. My second tip is to practice as much as you can. Do as many practice tests as you can. Try to recreate the testing environment as much as you can. If you're not an auditory learner, I don't think a class is necessary. I think books would be okay, and you can save money, but that's gonna be very student dependent. If you know anyone else who is studying for the LSAT and they are someone that you think would be a good accountability partner, I do think it's worth it. And that's pretty much it. If you're a student and if there's any way you can kind of tweak your schedule to make it a little bit lighter this semester that you're studying for the LSAT, so you can dedicate a lot of time to it, I recommend that as well. If you're working full-time and all you have are your nights and your weekends, I get that too. Even though I was only working full-time for a little bit of my study period, it was exhausting. So first of all, kudos to you for kind of pursuing this journey while you're working full-time. But I think it's possible. I think it just probably takes a lot more intention and probably all of your weekends, but I think that's possible too. I think that's everything that I've been asked about the LSAT. How did I study? I've said that. How long did I study? I've said that. Oh, so the reasons why I haven't really done this video before, not only is the LSAT different because it's administered more frequently now, it's also, I think, virtual. Like, I had printed LSAT packets. Like, I remember someone coming up to me a couple years ago telling me that she was taking the LSAT, and she said, I'm taking it on the iPad. And I was like, oh, that wasn't an option when I was taking it. A lot of the advice that I was given about how to tackle questions was very like, circle this and highlight this and underline this, and let me know in the comments, but I don't know if you can do that on the iPad. Maybe they have those features, I don't really know. So that's why I haven't really felt comfortable like saying like, hey, do this, this, and that, because I don't know, I'm getting old, y'all. Like, I don't know what the LSAT is doing these days. Like, 2015 at this point was a long time ago. But yeah, that's it. That's my LSAT story, y'all. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. In the future, when people have questions for me about the LSAT, I'm directing them to this video because this is really all I have to say about it. I'm not hiding anything. I don't have any additional advice or anything like that. But good luck if you're studying it right now. If you are new, just please hit that subscribe button. Me and Sam give a lot of advice about our law school experience, about our lawyer experience. We're both in big law, so we talk about our big law experience a lot. We talk about our experiences as Black women. And then when COVID is like not around, we do some travel vlogs and we do lifestyle vlogs as well, so hit that subscribe button. Our videos are fortunately benefiting a lot of people, but we really, really do this from our personal experience as Black women. So if you're a Black woman, it's especially for you, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Happy Valentine's Day once again. Hold tight to your loved ones if you can, or FaceTime them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.